What's up? Another day sitting in car rider line, still going through the CrossFit Level 1 trainer guide, studying for the CrossFit Level 3, and just thought I would record this and post what I'm learning, because when you can talk about something, share information, teach something, you learn it better. So just some accountability for me, and I've had at least one person tell me that they appreciate these, so thanks, Scott. And anyone else, check it out, you'll learn some stuff. So this next section it's called an effective approach, and you have to keep in mind that this was written in originally, this particular article was 2007. What is Fitness, which we're going to get to, is written in 2002, but at that time, training like what CrossFit is, constantly varied functional movements, high intensity, HIIT training, which is not the same thing, by the way. These more mixed modality type of training programs that are more ubiquitous now because of CrossFit were not at the time. So what was common was you go to a Globo gym and thank you, car line. You run on a treadmill or do an elliptical for 30 minutes, and then you do the cycle or the circuit of the machines and, the pec deck and all that kind of stuff. That was much, much more common. Every once in a while you would see somebody maybe with some free weights doing some bicep curls or some shoulder press or, stuff like that. But it was still very low intensity in general. And so CrossFit comes out and starts doing this high intensity functional movement, and it kind of flipped things on their head. And not that these movements didn't exist before. Greg Glassman, who started CrossFit, was the first one to say, I didn't invent any of this. I just took a lot of things that work really well and put them together. And then what he did was he defined fitness and he made it accessible for normal people, which is what this section is about. So it's just talking about that CrossFit has replaced those leg extension machines and lateral raise machines and curls and things like that with functional movement. And it says we've replaced the lateral raise with the push press, the curl with the pull up, the leg extension with the squat. And it also talks about how the typical cardio was long distance efforts, but CrossFit embraces intensity, so shorter time domains and pushing harder, literally getting more work done in less time. It says for every long distance effort, our athletes will do 5 or 6 at short distance. So it's not that we don't occasionally do long distance in CrossFit. You have your workouts like Murph, you'll have 5Ks, even 10Ks are programmed on CrossFit.com at least. Not often, which is the point, but they are programmed. And it says why? Why is this? Why do we do more short and fast instead of these often going long? Because functional movements and high intensity are radically more effective at eliciting nearly any desired fitness result. And I love this. Startlingly, it's not a matter of opinion, but solid, irrefutable scientific fact. And yet the marginally effective old ways persist and are nearly universal. And they were at the time of writing this. Now it's much more common for people to do high intensity workouts. And what he's saying is a solid, irrefutable scientific fact is that intensity gets results. And in the exercise science world, that is proven time and time again with studies, and that the more intense the work is, meaning the more work you do in less time, the more training adaptation you're going to get out of it. It says our approach is consistent with what is practiced in elite training programs associated with major university athletic teams and professional sports. CrossFit endeavors to bring state-of-the-art coaching techniques to the general public and athlete. So this is the key. So you might be wondering, okay, if it's scientific, irrefutable fact that intensity gets results, why weren't more people doing it, and why still do more people not do it? Even though it's accepted, and that's why, in a collegiate strength and conditioning setting for college sports or professional sports, you're going to see a lot more high intensity training. It's because it's hard to coach and it's uncomfortable to perform. If your job relies on it, you're going to be more willing to do that. if you're just a normal everyday person, it's much easier to coach and sell, and for the participant to actually do lower intensity, long, slow cardio, sit at a machine and do your flies, do your lat pull down machine, than it is to do constantly varied functional movement at high intensity. It's harder to coach because functional movement does require more coordination, and so more coaching around technique and mechanics is required to do it efficiently. And it's it's easier to sell the, long, slow cardio, maybe pick up some weights. Even like now, what's popular, like the hybrid, which is like run and lift, typically is run a long distance and do slow lifts, meaning back squat, press, deadlift, bench press. Those movements are less technical and they're easier to coach, and it's less mentally demanding for the athlete as well, as far as psychological tolerance. So it's just interesting, and that's what I love about one of the things I love about CrossFit is that it's built around what works, not what is easy to sell or what's popular, or catering to perceived need, or it's not pragmatic in a sense of like what's easy to sell and market. It is very pragmatic in the sense of what actually works, and that's what we're going to do. So anyway, that's basically what that's saying is intensity and functional movement is going to get you the best results, and it's not just for elite athletes. And actually the next sentence says, is this for me? And it says, absolutely. Your needs and the Olympic athletes' needs differ by degree, not kind. Meaning an Olympic athlete needs constantly varied high intensity functional movement to improve in their sport, just like you do to improve your health. It's just going to look different degree of power output, essentially. So that's a summary of that piece. Who has benefited from CrossFit? Basically everyone, grandparents to Olympic athletes. And let's see here. Can I enjoy optimal health without being an athlete? This is interesting. No, it says. Athletes experience protection from the ravages of aging and disease that non-athletes never find. You might be thinking, well, I'm not an athlete. What does that mean? And it goes on to say, what is an athlete? A person who is trained or skilled in exercise, sports, or games requiring physical strength, agility, and stamina. Does your life require physical strength, agility, and stamina? Yes. It says the CrossFit definition of an athlete is a bit tighter. The CrossFit definition is a person who is trained or skilled in strength, power, balance, agility, flexibility, and endurance. So if you do CrossFit, you're an athlete. CrossFit holds that fitness, health, and athleticism are strongly overlapping constructs. For most purposes, they can be seen as equivalents, which we'll get more into that. If you just pursue fitness, your health is going to improve, your athleticism is going to improve, and sometimes people want to pursue health, and our environment will tell you that it's a pill or it's something that you can do passively, get worked on, take a pill, but if you take control of the things you can take control of, which is way more than you realize, how you move your body and what you eat and how you recover, you can push your health way further forward in a positive direction than you can with any pills or anything else. So okay, car rider line's moving. Last thing here, what do I do if I don't want to be an athlete? I just want to be healthy. You're in luck. We hear this often, but the truth is that fitness, wellness, and pathology or sickness are measures of the same entity, your health. That's what I was just saying. CrossFit's view is that fitness and health are the same thing. We'll get into that in the What is Fitness article. It's my favorite, and it changed the fitness industry and how people view their own health and fitness, and you'll see why. Okay, bye. Talk later.